Well, the first 10 teams in World Cup qualifying for 2026 have been eliminated, all coming from the Asian Football Confederation. And while it's certainly disappointing that these 10 teams have already been taken out of the competition, let's take a look back and see how they did in their two-legged playoff and give some background information on each of these sides. Guys, Manny G back here with you on Football with Flags. Thanks so much for joining us, and let's get to it. Now, for those who aren't familiar, here is a slide to just show you each of these 10 nations that have been eliminated connected with the flag that they represent. And just wanted to again touch base in terms of this first round of AFC qualifying. Again, all of these sides were eliminated through a two-legged playoff. They all came out on the wrong end over the past 5 or 6 days, unfortunately. And it's just a shame because while, again, most of these sides may have not even really come close to qualifying for this 2026 World Cup, it's disappointing that they were each only given 2 games to kind of showcase their talent and their competitive side in terms of just having an opportunity to advance in this competition. I would have certainly loved to have seen the AFC give them an opportunity through a group format or a little bit longer process than to just go through 2 games. Again, I know these are the lowest ranked teams in this region, but it's certainly just disappointing that now we're still over 3 years out from this next World Cup, and all of these nations have already been eliminated from the competition. Again, none of them may have had legitimate shots at making the tournament, but to think that now they're really only going to have to go back to qualifying games, friendlies, and really some of these nations don't even get that many opportunities throughout the calendar year. It's certainly disappointing. So I would love to see in the future, hopefully the AFC rearrange their qualifying process and allow some of these teams a few more opportunities to at least make it count more throughout a longer process. We'll start things off in the top left-hand corner with Timor-Leste, who lost their opening fixture to Chinese Taipei 4-0 and then backed that up with a 3-0 loss, unfortunately, as well, with a final of 7-0 on aggregate. They're currently ranked 192nd in the world. They are winless all-time versus Chinese Taipei, unfortunately, as well. And they've only ever faced Asian Football Confederation competition. From what I can tell, I don't think I've seen them play anyone else outside the Asian region. But as for this team, Rafinu Gamma is their all-time leading goal scorer at the moment with 7 goals, and currently the most caps of anyone on their side at the moment is just 13. So would certainly love to see this nation be able to just get more opportunities in the future, get to play more games. Obviously, they've got some inexperience, but again, at the same time, not really a ton of games on their calendar year after year. Next up, we have Laos, who fought incredibly hard against Nepal through their two-legged playoff. Actually scored first in the opening fixture before Nepal was able to equalize and then get a goal in the second half of the second leg to go on and win this tie. Laos, though, is currently ranked 186th in the world. They've taken 2 draws against Nepal all time, but have yet to be able to beat them. They have 3 wins in 30 World Cup qualifying matches over the years, and the best finish that they've had in any competition before was a 3rd place finish in the AFC Solidarity Cup back in 2016. And in terms of this roster, currently their captain has the most caps of anyone on the roster at the moment with 23. Moving on, we have Sri Lanka, who played against Yemen in their two-legged playoff. Unfortunately, got behind and lost 3-0 in the opening leg. Turned around and at least took a draw away from the second leg, but it was too little too late as they go down 4-1 on aggregate. They're currently ranked 202 in the world. They have an entire Scottish coaching staff at the moment, besides just their medical officer, who is the only one on staff actually from Sri Lanka for this side at the moment. Suyan Pereira has the most caps all-time for this team at 43 at the moment. They have 4 wins through 41 World Cup qualifying matches, and the best finish they've ever had in any competition was the Southern Asian Football Federation Championship. They won that back in 1995. Now on to Mongolia, who again battled incredibly well against Afghanistan through their 2 legs. Went down 1-0 in the 60th minute in the first leg, had a red card late in that game. Luckily, it didn't affect them anymore in terms of their aggregate. But again, Afghanistan come back with a goal in the 71st minute to help secure that tie, 2-0 overall. later in the second leg. But Mongolia are currently ranked 183rd in the world. They go, I believe, by several nicknames, but Blue Wolves, I think, is one of the most popular that they're known by. They have 4 wins over 26 World Cup qualifiers in their history, but their last win, friendly or not, came last year in 2022 versus a high school in Japan. And in terms of their current roster, the most caps anyone has on this side is just 41. Cambodia is up next, and they had it all to play for going into their second leg after tying with Pakistan 0-0 in their opener. But Pakistan, with a goal in the second half, helped secure that victory. And for Cambodia, who are currently ranked 153rd in the world, that was the first time Pakistan had ever beaten them. They were unbeaten against them until that last fixture. And as for Cambodia as well, they've only ever played AFC opponents, from what I can tell through the research that I've done. Guinea from Africa is the only other side that I have seen them play outside of Asian competition. Cambodia currently has 4 wins and 38 World Cup qualifiers throughout their history, and the only time that they have appeared in the AFC Asian Cup was back in 1972. Now on to Macau, who again had a really tough run against Myanmar in their opening fixture, losing 5-1. They come back and at least take a draw out of the second leg. Still not sure, though, if Myanmar maybe rested some of their starters or whatnot, but at least a decent result for Macau to at least come back strong, even though they were unfortunately eliminated. They're currently ranked 185th in the world. They are winless all time versus Myanmar. They have 4 wins, though, through 39 World Cup qualifiers in their history. I've noticed that Panama and Kazakhstan are really 2 of the only teams they've faced outside of AFC opposition. And Ho Man Fai, their goalkeeper, one of their current goalkeepers on this roster, has the most caps of anyone at 42. Up next, we have Guam, who again fought valiantly against Singapore, but come up short. Singapore scored 2 goals in the first half of that opening leg before Guam getting a goal back in the 90th minute. But Singapore are able to solidify this victory with a goal in the second half of that second leg to win 3-1 on aggregate. Guam are currently ranked 201 in the world. They have a draw against Singapore all time, but have yet to be able to beat them in their all-time meetings. They have 3 wins all time in their 22 World Cup qualifiers, and they've at least faced a decent amount of opposition outside of just Asian competition. They've faced Fiji, Vanuatu, along with some other teams from the OFC region, as well as Aruba twice from CONCACAF, of course. And an interesting fact about Guam, their current manager, Ross Awa, is the only manager in their history to actually be from Guam. Every other manager that they've had in the past have been from different parts of the world, but it's cool to see Ross be able to take over this team, and hopefully he'll lead them to some success down the road. Now on to Brunei, who faced Indonesia in their 2-legged playoff and unfortunately were beaten 6-0 in both fixtures. Really just had no chance in this tie. Indonesia just a bit too good for them, unfortunately. They have beaten Indonesia twice, though, in prior meetings, but Brunei are currently ranked 191st in the world. One of the best finishes they've had in any competitions was 4th in the AFC Solidarity Cup back in 2016. Their last win, though, came against Timor-Leste in 2022. They won that game 6-2, and Adi Said on their current roster has the most caps of anyone at 28. Now on to Bhutan, who lost 4-0 to Hong Kong, but won the returning leg 2-0. They were the only side to win the second leg. We had a few teams that took a draw away, but Bhutan were the only ones to get a win in that return leg, but unfortunately it was still not enough. They're currently ranked 184th in the world. That was their first ever win, though, against Hong Kong, so at least a little consolation prize at that. They have 4 wins and 14 World Cup qualifiers all time in their history. One of the best finishes they've had in any competition was a semifinal run in 2008 in the Southern Asian Football Federation Championship. And Chincho Gyeltshin, their current captain, has the most caps of anyone on the side with 44. Last but not least, we have Maldives, who lost 3-2 overall on aggregate to Bangladesh. It was a tight battle in their opening fixture, and Bangladesh scored a goal in the second half in the 46th minute to go up 2-1. Maldives unfortunately couldn't answer. There were 2 red cards in that second half of the second leg. A very exciting game back and forth. And for Maldives, they have 6 wins all time against Bangladesh, but unfortunately just couldn't get it done this time around in the playoff and have been sent home early. They're currently ranked 155th in the world. Their entire coaching staff is all from Italy. They have 9 wins all time and 42 World Cup qualifiers. And Ali Fasir has the most caps of anyone on their current side with 70 at the moment. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. A little change of pace here, and certainly just wanted to give some insight on these teams that have unfortunately already left the World Cup qualifying scene. But, guys, again, make sure you stay tuned as we've got plenty more coming your way from competitions all over the globe. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button as well. And I hope you all have a blessed day, and we will see you soon. Peace.